Educate yourself every day. Hello, lifelong learners. Welcome back to LinguaSync, the podcast that accompanies you on your journey of growth, both in language and in life. I'm Jamie Walker, and it's great to be with you again for this episode. How is everyone doing? I hope you're all at your best, full of energy, and ready to absorb something new today. Because our topic is incredibly fundamental. Something that can be a true game changer in your career, your studies, and even the way you see the world. The title is Educate Yourself Every Day. Okay, let's start with the question. Have you ever looked around and wondered, why do some people always seem to be one step ahead? They continuously grow, evolve, and achieve success, seemingly faster than others, while many people feel stuck in the same place, year after year. You might think it's magic, or maybe luck, or perhaps they were just born a genius. Well, let me tell you a secret. It's not about magic. It's not about luck either. The answer is far simpler and accessible to everyone. The answer is education. But wait a minute. When I say education, I'm not just talking about the formal education we get in school or at university, not the degree we hang on the wall. I'm talking about something deeper, more personal, self-education, a daily habit of learning, growing, and pushing the boundaries of our minds. There is an interesting phenomenon in our society. Most people consciously stop learning after they graduate, whether it's high school or college. Once the graduation cap is off, the books are closed. They enter the workforce, come home, watch their favorite series, scroll endlessly through social media, and that cycle repeats every single day, every month, every year. Sounds familiar? This is a trap, my friends, a mindset trap that tells us learning has a finish line. But the truth is, if we want to keep growing, if we want to become the best version of ourselves, if we want to have a competitive edge over 99% of other people, we must educate ourselves every single day. This is our secret weapon. This is your edge. And the best part, it's almost entirely free. In this digital age, it doesn't matter how wealthy or modest our background is, where we come from, as long as we have access to the internet, a smartphone, or even a book from the library, we have the power to learn something new every day. And this small habit is what can change everything. Okay, some of you might be thinking, Jamie, I'm already so busy with my studies or my job. Why should I bother learning something new every day? That's a valid question. Let's just look around us. The world is changing at an unprecedented speed. Jobs that were relevant 5 years ago might already be on their way to being replaced by automation or AI. Skills that were once a major asset are now the bare minimum. Most people stop learning after school. They trade classrooms for routines, curiosity for comfort. But here's the thing. The world doesn't slow down for anyone. Technology changes, industries rise and fall, and skills that were valuable yesterday may not be enough tomorrow. If you're not feeding your mind daily, you're falling behind. Today, I want to show you why self-education is your superpower. We'll explore why it matters, what you should focus on, how to find the time, and how to make it a lifestyle. And by the end, you'll know how to stay ahead of 99% of people without a fancy degree, without waiting for the perfect moment, and without burning yourself out.
Segment 1. Why self-education is essential. Let's start with a reality check. The world is not slowing down for anyone. Technology is evolving at a pace that feels almost impossible to keep up with. New apps, new tools, new ways of working. They're all being introduced every single day. Whole industries rise and fall in just a few years. Think about this. 5 years ago, some of the most popular jobs today didn't even exist. Social media managers, data analysts, app developers, these roles exploded because the world changed and people adapted. And here's the thing. If you're not learning, you're falling behind. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't notice this happening. They live life on autopilot. They wake up, check their phones, go to work or class, scroll through social media, binge watch a show, and repeat the same cycle the next day. It's comfortable, predictable, but it's also stagnant. Why? Because there's no new input, no new ideas, no challenges to the mind. And just like a muscle that isn't exercised, your brain loses its strength if it's not pushed to grow. Think of your brain like going to the gym. If you work out once and never go back, you can't expect your muscles to get stronger. But if you show up consistently, even for short sessions, you'll see real change. The mind works exactly the same way. If you don't feed it with new information, if you don't challenge it to think differently, it stays stuck. Here's a question for you. When was the last time you learned something completely new? Something that made you uncomfortable at first? Most people stop being curious after school because they think learning is only for classrooms or degrees. But education doesn't end at graduation. In fact, that's when the real learning begins. And here's the best part. Learning doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. If you have a phone, a book, or internet access, you have the tools to learn something every day. Whether it's reading an article, watching a TED Talk, listening to a podcast, or taking a short course, you're only a few clicks away from knowledge. And each piece of knowledge is like a brick, slowly building the foundation of the life you want. Let me share an example. Imagine two coworkers start the same entry-level job. One of them goes through the motions, does what's expected, and calls it a day. The other one spends 20 to 30 minutes daily reading about their industry, learning new software, and improving their communication skills. Fast forward a year. Who do you think is more valuable to the team? Who gets noticed? Who's ready for a promotion? It's not the one who just showed up. It's the one who kept learning. That's why self-education is essential. It's the only way to keep up with change, to stay sharp, and to create opportunities instead of waiting for them. Whether you want to earn more, feel more confident, or simply grow as a person, daily learning is the foundation. So here's the key takeaway for this first segment. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to start feeding your mind again. 10 minutes of reading, one short video, one podcast episode. Small, consistent actions compound over time, and soon you'll notice something incredible. You're not just keeping up, you're leading. Segment 2. The mindset of high achievers. Now that we understand why self-education matters, let's take a closer look at the people who seem to have mastered it, the ones we often admire, follow, or even envy. We're talking about high achievers, the entrepreneurs, creators, leaders, and innovators who seem to always be a step ahead. They are the people who appear to move through challenges with confidence, keep coming up with new ideas, and seem to grow almost effortlessly. What sets them apart? The answer might surprise you. It's not just raw intelligence. It's not just talent or luck. It's something far more intentional. They are lifelong learners. They never stop feeding their minds. They view learning not as an occasional activity, but as a daily discipline. Just like an athlete trains their body every day, high achievers train their minds. Take Elon Musk, for example. He didn't go to school for rocket science, yet he became the founder of SpaceX. How? He read, he studied, he taught himself. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time, spends 5 to 6 hours a day reading articles, reports, books. He once said that knowledge compounds like interest. Little by little, it builds into a huge advantage. Oprah Winfrey has credited books as her escape, her strength, and our guide, helping her rise from a difficult childhood to becoming one of the most influential women in the world. The common thread? They treat learning like fuel. And here's the good news. You don't have to be a billionaire or a genius to apply this mindset. You don't even need hours a day to do it. Even 20 to 30 minutes of focused learning daily can completely shift the trajectory of your life. It's about quality and consistency, not volume. Think about your own routine for a moment. How much time do you spend scrolling through social media, watching random videos, or consuming content that adds no real value to your life? What if you redirected even 30 minutes of mindless scrolling towards purposeful learning? An audiobook during your commute, a podcast while cooking, a short article before bed? That small change repeated daily would transform your knowledge base, your skills, and ultimately your opportunities.
Another key factor? High achievers are strategic. They don't just learn anything and everything. They focus on skills and knowledge that will make them stronger, smarter, and more adaptable. Whether it's mastering finance, understanding leadership, learning a language, or improving communication, they choose areas that directly impact their growth and success. And there's one more thing. They make learning part of their identity. It's not something they do when it's convenient, it's who they are. When learning becomes part of your identity, it stops feeling like work and starts feeling natural. You start looking for lessons in every experience, every challenge, every conversation. So here's the lesson for you. You don't need to copy someone else's path, but you can adopt their mindset. Ask yourself, what can I learn today that will make me a little better tomorrow? What habit can I start that, if I repeat it daily, will put me ahead of where I am right now? High achievers are not extraordinary because they were born different. They're extraordinary because they made a simple decision. Never stop learning. And that's a decision you can make today.
Segment 4. What to learn. The 4 pillars. Now that you know the power of just 1 hour a day, the next question is, what should you actually learn? The truth is, there's no shortage of information out there. We live in a time when knowledge is literally in our pockets. Podcasts, online courses, books, blogs, videos, you name it. The challenge isn't access, it's focus. So how do you decide what to learn? Where do you put your time and energy? To make this simple, I like to think about learning in terms of 4 powerful pillars, 4 areas that will give you the greatest return on your investment. These aren't just random subjects, they are the foundations for personal and professional growth. Master even a little bit of each, and you'll have skills and insights that set you apart from almost everyone else. Pillar 1. Know yourself. The first and most important area is self-awareness. Too many people go through life without truly understanding themselves, their strengths, weaknesses, triggers, and patterns. But the better you know yourself, the better decisions you make. Start asking questions. What habits hold me back? What motivates me? What are my core values? When do I feel most creative or most productive? The answers to these questions shape your future. How do you develop this pillar? Read about psychology, mindset, and emotional intelligence. Try journaling your thoughts and feelings. Pay attention to your habits and reactions. Even something as simple as reflecting on your day can give you insights. When you know yourself, you gain control over your actions, your emotions, and your choices. You become proactive instead of reactive. Pillar 2. Understand money. The second pillar is money. Whether we like it or not, money influences almost every part of modern life. Where we live, the opportunities we can take, the level of freedom we have with our time. Yet most people never learn how money really works. They earn it, they spend it, but they don't know how to save, invest, or grow it. You don't need to become an economist, but basic financial literacy is life-changing. Learn how to budget, understand debt and credit, study investing and saving, read books or listen to podcasts on personal finance. Watch free online videos that explain concepts like compound interest, assets versus liabilities, and how to build wealth over time. Money shouldn't control you. You should control money. When you do, you gain freedom. Freedom to make choices based on what you value, not what you fear. Number 3, build skills. Skills are what make you valuable to the world. They're also the best way to stay adaptable in a changing job market. The beauty of skills is that they're learnable. You're not born with them, you develop them. In today's world, certain skills are especially powerful. Communication, writing, public speaking, sales, digital marketing, design, video editing, coding, leadership. You don't need to learn them all. Just pick 1 or 2 that excite you or align with your goals. For example, if you're in a creative field, maybe learn graphic design or video editing. If you want to advance in business, work on leadership and public speaking. If you love technology, coding or analytics could be your path. The point is, skills open doors. And thanks to online platforms, many of them are free or low cost to learn. Dedicate consistent time, practice often, and build a small portfolio of work to showcase what you can do. Remember this, skills pay the bills, and they also create freedom. Pillar 4. Learn about people. The last pillar is all about relationships. Life is about people. Whether you're working, studying, starting a business, or simply trying to navigate your social world, understanding people is a game changer. The truth is, your success often depends less on what you know and more on how well you can connect, lead, and influence others. So study human behavior. Learn to listen deeply, not just to respond, but to understand. Study body language, negotiation, and empathy. Read books about communication and leadership. Observe the people around you. The better you are with people, the more opportunities you will attract in your career, in your friendships, and even in your personal life. Why are these 4 pillars so important? Because they cover every critical area of growth. your inner world, your resources, your abilities, and your connections. Together, they create a strong foundation for a life of confidence, freedom, and purpose. So when you're planning your daily learning hour, ask yourself, which pillar do I want to strengthen today? Maybe it's reading a chapter on emotional intelligence, watching a video on investing, practicing a new skill, or having a meaningful conversation with someone. Over time, these pillars will make you stronger, smarter, and more capable of designing the life you want. Remember, you don't have to master everything at once. The key is steady, intentional growth. 1 brick a day builds the house. 1 hour a day builds the life. Segment 5. Overcoming mental blocks. Now that we've talked about what to learn and how powerful these pillars are, let's address the elephant in the room. Why don't more people do this? Why, if information is everywhere and often free, do so many of us still feel stuck or stagnant? The answer is simple, but also deeply personal. Mental blocks. Mental blocks are those invisible barriers in your mind that keep you from moving forward. They're not always logical. They're often just beliefs, fears, or habits that have been repeated so many times that they feel like truth. And if you want to make daily learning part of your life, you have to recognize and break these blocks. Let's go through some of the most common ones. Block 1. I don't have time. This is probably the #1 excuse people give, and honestly, I understand it. We all feel busy. School, work, family, social life. But here's the truth. You do have time. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. The question isn't whether you have time, it's how you use it. Take a hard look at your day. How much of it is spent scrolling, binge-watching, or doing things that actually don't move you forward? Replacing just 30 minutes of social media or TV with learning adds up to over 180 hours in a year. That's enough time to become highly knowledgeable in a completely new skill or subject. The real issue isn't time, it's priorities. When learning becomes a priority, you'll find the time. Block 2. I'm too old to start learning. This belief holds so many people back. Maybe you think, I should have started earlier, or it's too late for me now. But that's simply not true. Your brain is not a finished product. It's flexible. It can grow, adapt, and rewire itself at any age. There are countless examples of people starting new careers, learning new languages, or building businesses in their 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s. Age is not the enemy. Attitude is. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today. So whether you're 18, 28, or 58, start anyway. Your future self will thank you. Block 3. I'm not smart enough. This one is tricky because it feels true when you're struggling, but intelligence is not fixed. It's not something you're born with and stuck with. Your brain is like a muscle. It gets stronger the more you use it. Every time you read, think, solve a problem, or ask a question, you're training your brain to be sharper and more creative. Even the smartest people started as beginners. They made mistakes, asked basic questions, and felt uncertain at first. The difference is they didn't stop. The only way to stay not smart is to stop trying. If you keep showing up, you will get better. Block 4. It's too hard. Learning something new can be hard. Changing habits can be uncomfortable. But here's the thing. Staying stuck is hard too. Working a job you hate is hard. Living with regret is hard. Feeling unprepared for the future is hard. Life will always have challenges. So the real question is, which hard do you want? When you choose the hard that leads to growth, you're choosing progress, confidence, and freedom. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but every small win builds momentum, and soon what once felt impossible becomes normal. The key to breaking these blocks is to challenge your own thoughts. The next time you catch yourself saying, I don't have time, ask, is that really true? When you think, I'm too old, remind yourself of the people who started late and succeeded. When you think, I'm not smart enough, remind yourself that every expert was once a beginner. And when it feels too hard, remind yourself that discomfort is a sign you're growing.
Here's the good news. You don't need to remove every block overnight. Just start by breaking one small belief at a time. Pick up a book, watch one short educational video, take a single class. Those tiny actions start to chip away at the walls in your mind. The truth is, most of the limits in your life aren't real. They're just thoughts you've accepted for too long. And the moment you stop believing them, they lose their power. When you challenge your blocks, you open doors to new opportunities. So remember, it's not your schedule, your age, or your intelligence that's stopping you. It's your mindset. Change your mind, and you change your life.
Segment 6. Making learning a lifestyle. So far, we've covered why learning matters, what to learn, and how to overcome the mental blocks that hold you back. Now comes the most important part, turning learning into a lifestyle. Because here's the truth, if learning stays an occasional activity, it will always fight for your attention against everything else in your life. But if you make it a habit, if you integrate it into your daily rhythm, it becomes as natural as brushing your teeth or checking your messages. Think about this. The people who truly grow are not necessarily the ones who spend the most money on courses or have the most degrees. They're the ones who make learning part of who they are. It's embedded in their routines, their choices, and even their identities. How do you make learning a lifestyle? Let's break it down. 1. Turn your environment into a classroom. Carry a book or a Kindle with you. Download audiobooks and podcasts to your phone. When you're waiting in line, commuting, or taking a short break, use that time to feed your mind. Those tiny moments add up quickly. Think about the average person's commute or downtime. That's hours each week that could be used for growth. 2. Curate your digital world. Social media isn't the enemy. How you use it is. If you spend time online, follow accounts that inspire, teach, or challenge you. Subscribe to YouTube channels that explain new concepts. Join communities that share resources and ideas. The goal is to make your feeds a source of learning instead of distraction. Imagine scrolling and finding insights, not just noise. 3. Journal what you learn. It might sound simple, but writing things down is powerful. A short note, a key takeaway, or even a quote can help reinforce what you've learned. Journaling creates a personal record of your growth and helps you see progress over time. On days when you feel stuck, flipping through your notes can remind you how far you've come. 4. Track your progress and celebrate wins. Learning can feel invisible because growth often happens slowly. That's why tracking helps. Maybe it's a checklist of books you've read, lessons you've finished, or skills you've practiced. Celebrate the small wins. Finishing a chapter, learning a new word, mastering a new tool. Each win builds momentum and motivates you to keep going. 5. Mix it up and keep it fun. Learning shouldn't feel like a chore. Explore topics that excite you. Alternate between videos, books, podcasts, or discussions. Study with a friend, join an online challenge, or teach what you've learned to someone else. When learning is enjoyable, you're more likely to stay consistent.
6. Make it non-negotiable. This is the most important part. Stop asking yourself, do I feel like learning today? Instead, make it automatic. Just like you don't ask yourself if you should brush your teeth, make learning a daily non-negotiable. Maybe it's 10 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes before bed, or an hour during the weekend. The time doesn't matter as much as the commitment.
Around illness or diet trends. Or maybe you learn about communication and leadership. Suddenly, meetings and presentations feel less intimidating, and your career path opens up. And here's the best part. You don't need permission to do this. You don't need to wait for a classroom, a degree, or someone else's approval. Books, podcasts, videos, online courses, they're all accessible to anyone with curiosity and a willingness to grow.
Self-education is your personal key to unlocking doors that most people never even try to open. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I'm just one person. Can I really change my life through learning? Absolutely. History is full of examples of individuals who used self-education to transform their circumstances. People who escaped poverty, started businesses, changed careers, or found their passion simply because they kept learning. They didn't wait for life to improve. They took the first step themselves. And here's another benefit that doesn't get talked about enough: clarity. The world can feel noisy and overwhelming. There's so much information, so many opinions, so much pressure to keep up. When you learn consistently, you cut through the noise. Knowledge clears the fog, helps you see patterns, and gives you a sense of control. You stop feeling like life is happening to you and start feeling like you are directing your own path. So remember this: education isn't just about facts. It's about transformation. It's not about being the smartest in the room. It's about being prepared, confident, and free to choose your path. Each page you read, each podcast you listen to, each lesson you study is another brick in the foundation of your freedom. The future belongs to the curious, the learners, and the ones who refuse to stay still. And that can be you. The more you learn, the more options you create. And the more options you have, the freer you become. As we wrap up today's episode, I want you to take a deep breath and think about everything we've talked about. We started with the idea that self-education isn't just nice to have, it's essential. The world is changing fast, and the only way to keep up, let alone get ahead, is to keep feeding your mind. We looked at how high achievers make learning a daily habit, how even an hour a day can transform your future, what you should focus on to maximize your growth, and how to break through the mental barriers that keep most people stuck. We explored how to make learning a lifestyle and why education is the ultimate form of freedom. But now comes the most important part, action. Because here's the truth, none of this matters if it stays as just ideas in your head. Growth doesn't happen by listening alone. Growth happens when you take a step, even a small one, and then another, and another. So what can you do right now? Start simple. Pick one small habit and commit to it today. Maybe it's reading 5 pages of a book before bed. Maybe it's downloading a podcast episode and listening on your commute. Maybe it's watching one short tutorial on a skill you've always wanted to learn. You don't need to have a perfect plan. You don't need to know everything right away. You just need to start. Think about this. 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, the future version of you will look back at today, and they'll either say, "Thank you for starting," or "I wish you had." Every page you read, every video you watch, every question you search for is a seed you're planting. Those seeds grow into knowledge, confidence, skills, and opportunities. And here's the thing, most people will choose comfort. Most people will choose the familiar routine, the endless scroll, the easy distractions. But you don't have to. You've already proven you're different just by listening to this episode. You're curious, you want more, and that's your advantage. So my final challenge for you is this. Decide who you want to become and start building that person one lesson at a time. Don't wait for the perfect time, the perfect mood, or the perfect resource. The perfect time is always now. The best investment you will ever make is in yourself. And remember this, the goal is not to be better than anyone else. The goal is to be better than you were yesterday. Every hour of learning moves you forward. Every bit of knowledge makes you stronger. And every habit you build brings you closer to the life you imagine. Stay curious, stay consistent, stay humble enough to learn, and bold enough to grow. Because every day you choose education, you choose freedom, opportunity, and transformation. Thank you so much for joining me today on LinguaSync. If this episode inspired you, share it with a friend. Follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. And most importantly, take one action today, no matter how small, that moves you forward. I'm Jamie Walker, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, your future starts now.
What's the one topic or skill you'll explore after listening to this episode? Write it down, share it with a friend, or send me a message on LinguaSync socials. If this episode inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit follow on your favorite podcast platform and share it with someone who's also hungry to learn. Every day we explore ideas to help you grow, so stay connected and keep adding tools to your personal and professional journey. Thank you so much again for spending your valuable time listening to LinguaSync all the way to the end. My deepest appreciation goes out to all of you who are committed to becoming a better version of yourselves every day. Always remember this quote, "Your mind is like a garden. If you don't intentionally plant flowers and tend to them, weeds will automatically grow. So keep planting those seeds of knowledge every single day." I'm Jamie Walker, signing off. Until the next episode, stay motivated and never stop learning.